Hey yo, how are my favorite vinyl addicts doing? If you're watching this at the time of upload, Godzilla vs. Kong just released today in the States and I could not be more ready for it. That film truly looks badass, and I figured what better way to celebrate than with a review of the G-Man himself. Not from GVK, but rather King of the Monsters. That's right, here in all his glory is the X Plus 25cm Godzilla 2019, RIC version. I've expressed my distaste for the Monsterverse in this design many times before, but like all things worth loving, I really gave it some time and thought. After rewatching the trilogy, I'd be lying if I said I hated it. To see those characters, some 65 plus years old, maintain such relevancy in our culture today, and classic kaiju like Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra newly on the big screen all this time later, well, that is truly something special. This film also means a lot to me. I mean, it was the first time I got to see my Godzilla friends in person, and they're a lot more than just Godzilla friends now. It was the year of my first G-Fest, and it'll always have a special place in my heart. I even got a shirt from it. Maybe the franchise didn't go the ideal direction I created in my head, but I love this shit, and it looks like it's here to stay. What more could I ask for?
Big monster!
And with that said, I just want to remind you that this is only my opinion. Yours might vary, but I do try to be unbiased. I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with this guy and his films, but just to quickly recap, this is Godzilla from the 2019 American film Godzilla King of the Monsters, same title in Japan, which I have a mini Japanese poster here of. Oh, and a theater-used Mylar, just 'cause it's cool. The movie is the third entry of Legendary's Monsterverse, which got its start with Godzilla in 2014 and Kong Skull Island in 2017. The film in question is set 5 years in the aftermath of the 2014 movie, following the Monarch organization and its study of titans, including Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah, among others. Like this dude, who everyone seems to love for some reason. I mean, I guess he's cool. Anyway, there's this monster dog whistle that awakens Ghidorah and Rodan, some sweet battle scenes, the oxygen destroyer shows up for 3 seconds, they kill off the cool characters again, Godzilla turns into a Cheeto, and then becomes king of the monsters. Neat. Would've liked a better story and characters, but that's what we got. At least there was more kaiju screen time. Yeah, it's a boring cardboard box. The only cool thing about it is Godzilla 2, which always amuses me. Other than that, there's the RIC sticker, his name, and Toho Large Monster Series, which is just a 25cm line. Next. This guy actually had 2 RICs, well, kind of. The standard version was just plain Godzilla. This RIC includes atomic breath blue paint with a light up. And then there was the exclusive Burning Godzilla with translucent vinyl, which I did an unboxing and mini review for that you can find on my channel and in the description below. I never go for light ups, but both the paint and the lights were more than worth the extra cash. You just take off the peg in his back foot and plug it in. Maybe a little dated technology, but it works. Could it be brighter and more grand? Yeah, but light ups aren't X Plus's strong suit, and I only really wanted it for the paint. If you want to see something funny, check out Super Goji 74's mishaps with this figure, also in the description.
This finally showed up, and I was so excited just to come home and open it and have it be a big fucking piece of shit!
It's unfortunate that these type of QC issues are common for such expensive and high-end products though. No matter what version you get of this guy, you can't go wrong. It's a very strong release in any version. Now this figure is a 25cm, but he stands a bit bigger than your average 25. He clocks in at around 28cm tall and 48cm long, which is mostly just his tail. I suppose Legendary Goji is huge, so it makes sense that he's bigger. I like my toys big anyway. Alrighty, first I have to compare him to his Burning counterpart, just because I love it a lot and they're the best. Next, here he is next to the Star Ace / X Plus Kong 2017. And here he is next to the 30cm Godzilla 2014, who is much inferior. Here he is next to Behemoth, oh wait, it's actually just the YMSF Man Mammoth. He had movie. If you know, you know. Here he is next to the Defareal Goji 2019 with the awesome breath effect. And lastly, here he is next to the GVK Hot Sauce, Chocolates, and the King of the Monsters 4K copy, just because. I'd advise against putting any of these products in your body though. Godzilla here retail for somewhere around $140 for standard and about $170 for the RIC. The Burning exclusive went for somewhere around $175 retail. I ended up paying around $210 for this guy, and it was more than worth it. I'm sure there's still some standards floating around on retailer sites, so I would definitely snag one of those before the GBK crowds do. Fun fact, the RIC actually sold out on the first day, and they had to open up a second batch of pre-orders, of which I definitely got in on the next day. He's quite a popular one. So the reason this guy is so good is probably due to the fact that he was created using the actual digital files from the film, essentially meaning he's a perfect likeness, and that he is. Without a traditional sculptor, there was little to go wrong. He's jam-packed with detail, and the only downsides you'll find are just general production issues, of which are few. Real quick, he only requires tail assembly, which was actually quite difficult, and there's a large seam on his back and some on his head, but they're almost blended in a way that doesn't make them stand out much. The rest of him flows beautifully. Starting at the head, I mean, yeah, that's him alright. The face is small and boxy, but it's dead on. The eyes might be small, but own that menacing glare, especially with all that texture surrounding them. The mouth looks great with sculpted out teeth and a tongue, but the teeth are a little muddied up and probably could have been sharper. Moving down his non-existent neck, we find his gills, and then that chest. Big, bulky, and so incredibly textured, it's unreal. He's packing some serious strength and durability. His arms are amazing with great scaling and those sharp claws. The hands are one of my favorite parts of this sculpt, they look so damn good. His thighs are just absolutely massive, I mean we got some real tree trunks here. But they are accurate. Again, that texturing is just so crisp and I just can't believe how much detail they put into this guy. Over to his tail, it swoops just a bit, revealing those segments and highlighting his presence. The tip includes some neat detailing, and we move on up to those dorsal plates. What a knockout, these things are incredible. They possess a ton of texture and of course mirror the 54 spines in a wonderful callback. Again, they're really sharp and truly shine once the light is on. I mentioned that he was flawless, right? Yeah, he is. He doesn't have the most exciting pose, but it isn't the blandest one either. It's a bit basic, but it's kind of a standoff and ready for battle stance that lends itself to look incredibly menacing from a variety of angles. Leaning forward and down a bit, as he does, I'd say this is a film-accurate pose, and dynamic enough to keep me interested. Not bad. If this figure absolutely had to have a weak spot, it's the paint, which goes for a lot of X+. I'm not saying it's bad, in fact I think it's really good, but it could use a bit more to bring out those details further. The main body color is a dark charcoal gray, including a light brown dry brush throughout. Other than that, it does fall kind of flat, whereas the standard had a lot more brown highlights and such. It's a tough call as his atomic breath scenes were darker and did look much like this figure, but in daylight Godzilla does have more color to him. His mouth and teeth paint color is fine, dark pink and dirty white, but the application to the teeth is a little sloppy and globby. They are very small though, so I think I'll let it slide. Still, I wish they were given a little more care, as on recent figures like the 30cm Goji 93, it's clear they can absolutely nail teeth. The last and coolest paint apps are his atomic breath blue, found around his eyes, his gills and neck, and his thighs, which really give a nice impression throughout the body. And of course, his dorsal plates are painted blue in a very dark gray, which looks accurate and definitely sells the figure for me, especially when those lights are on. It's a really solid effort. This figure is very close to converting me to be a fan, which should speak volumes. I mean, hell, I have 3 of the guy now. If you dig this design, and even if you don't, this is one knockout release. They made him look damn good. It's very, very finely detailed and incredibly crisp all over. X Plus has been on their A game the past year, and this guy definitely shows that. He's just a beautiful bastard. I give him 9.8 Ghidorah killing finishing moves out of 10. If you aren't super into Godzilla right now, I have no idea why. I'm sure GVK is absolutely insane and I can't wait for the X Plus lineup. Well, if they even finish the current legendary lineup, which is pretty lacking. As far as expectations go, keep them tame. I wouldn't expect anything GVK related for at least a year. It's possible we get some kind of tease later this year, but I wouldn't bet on it. What would it be? What do I know? Not much. Oh, and you're probably wondering what team I'm on. I'm on team Please God Be a Good Movie. Other than that, I really don't care. Well, maybe about the people easily dismissing Kong. He's a lot more equally matched than you might think. Alrighty guys, thanks a ton for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this review as well as Godzilla vs. Kong. Let me know who I should review next in the comments. I read them. And maybe consider hitting those buttons below, the one with the thumb on it, and then the red rectangle one. Maybe some of those down there. Other than that, catch you in the next one.